On this day in drumming history, we acknowledge the extraordinary accomplishments of session drummer Andy Newmark. Today, August 7th, in 1980, John Lennon began recording his final album, Double Fantasy, at the Hit Factory in New York City. It would be released on November 17th by the newly formed Geffen Records, days before his murder. It went on to win the 1982 Grammy Award for Album of the Year, and Andy Newmark was the chosen drummer on that album. Andy was born Andrew Newmark on July 14, 1950, in Port Chester, New York, and was raised in Mamaroneck. His mother was Bermudian, and his father, Charles W. Newmark, of Russian Jewish descent, was an assistant DA in New York City under Thomas E. Dewey. Andy took up the drums at 9, and by 15, he was getting paid to play. At 16, he moved to Bermuda, a place he always considered his second home. He joined Bermuda Jam, a band that included guitarist Paul Muggleton. At 21, Andy landed one of his first major gigs, recording with Carly Simon on her albums Anticipation and No Secrets. These and other sessions, along with a recommendation by his friend, saxophonist Pat Rizzo, led him to becoming a member of Sly and the Family Stone. He performed with the band for 2 years in concert and recorded the album Fresh. After leaving Family Stone in 1974, Newmark played drums for the first month of George Harrison and Robbie Shanker's 1974 North American tour and returned to session work, playing drums on Gary Wright's 1975 album Dreamweaver. He continued performing on Carly Simon solo albums throughout the 1970s and again in the 1990s. Newmark's discography reads like a musician's fantasy dream team with John Lennon, Cat Stevens, Joe Walsh, B.B. King, Eric Clapton, David Bowie, Roy Buchanan, Brian Ferry, Dan Fogelberg, George Harrison, Ricky Lee Jones, Patrick Moraz, Randy Newman, Pink Floyd, Roger Waters, David Gilmour, Murray Heed, Keith Richards, Rod Stewart, Luther Vandross, Ronnie Wood, Roxy Music, ABC, Hue and Cry, Laurie Nairo, Nicolette Larson, Elkie Brooks, Sting, Steve Winwood, Niles Lofgren, George Benson, and Michael Franks. In addition to Double Fantasy, Andy played on Milk and Honey and was a featured drummer on Yoko Ono's Seasons of Glass. Not many drummers can say they laid the beat down behind not one, but two Beatles. Behind the funk, soul, and psychedelica of Sly and the Family Stone. Behind the art, glam, pop, and prog rock of Roxy Music, and Pink Floyd, and behind the beautifully warm-toned love songs with loud, heartfelt messages of Carly Simon. Bravo to Andy Newmark, whose career is still going strong for over 50 years. Thank you for bringing drum excellence to so many of the songs that are part of the soundtrack of our lives.